We'd like to thank you for liking our Facebook page and subscribing to our YouTube channel. We are working diligently to get up to 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel by the end of the year. So please ask your family members or friends to go out and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. We also need your comments, both positive and negative. We don't always like the negative, but those are the things that help us to get better. We also are looking for different places that you want to hear from. So let us know those businesses that you'd like to have a little more in-depth knowledge of. So now let's head on to the show. Welcome back to RoadrunnerZX and part 2 of Spiceworks. We're going to ask them some great questions this week and hopefully get to learn a little bit more about their store, and hopefully you'll go down and see them at their space at 311 North Main Street in downtown Bloomington. So we'll hit the supermarket aisle, which has, I'd say, for most people, a sizable amount of spices that are kind of what it is, and then they have their blends that are out there from the major manufacturers. So as I understand it, you have over 200 different types of spices or
There's so
more.
many.
Yeah.
I've lost track
Yeah.
at this point, but yeah.
So how do you get those people in on the entry level kindergarten spice? And then how do you get them into where they have their doctorate in spices? And if you hit the doctorate, what is that like very good, and hopefully you can describe it, like spice that probably most people don't know of?
Oh man. So I mean, it's kind of like what I said just a little bit ago, right? Like that curiosity gets piqued, and then they start wondering, like, well, what else is out there, right? And they're either gonna start looking up a recipe, right, something new, or they'll see something online, like that looks good. I think I can do that, right? Where do I get that spice? Oh, I'll go to Spiceworks. I'll ask him really quick and see if he has it, right? Or they get bored of the same thing, even though it tastes good, and they're like, I just want to change it a little bit, right? So we kind of move them to something in the same zone, right? So crushed red chilies, right? Everybody has the crushed red chilies, and they know what it tastes like. You know, put it on your pizza, put it on your pasta, put it on everything, right? That one comes up a lot, and they're like, well, I like this, but I kind of want to try something a little different. And I'm like, well, just so you know, we have these other 6 chili flakes, you know, and this is what this one tastes like. This one's the spiciest. This one is a little citrusy, right? And then you just describe it, and they're like, oh, I'll try this one, right? And then that's kind of how it starts to happen. Like, you know, oh, I didn't know there were, you know, you have 2 types of oregano. What's the difference, right? 3 types of cinnamon. What's the difference, right? And eventually they get to this point where they feel more comfortable, like blending, experimenting at home, doing their own process, right? And that's kind of where that shift, you know, starts to happen for most folks, right? When they start getting curious about it. And I'm sorry, I forgot the second half of the question. Yeah, yes.
What is it? What is a spice that's out there that most people don't use that you think is just an absolutely phenomenal spice to use?
So it could be a couple things, right? Like in that world of paprika, like and it's my favorite spice in the whole shop. Like it was the one that I said, if we can't find this, we're not doing this, right?
Okay.
But it was it's called Della Vera paprika, and it's a smoked paprika that is not spicy. There is a spicy one, but the smoked sweet one is the best. And there's just something about it, like that little valley in Spain, the Della Vera Valley, like it's a denomination of origin protection, so it has to come from that little valley in order for it to be marked Della Vera. So I'm very diligent. Like that's the one. Like it always has to be on the shelf. You know, but that one, even just a little bit, just changes everything.
And what would you put it on? Like, what would be something that would help to just bring out the flavor of that?
So even the basics, right? And the reason that I chose that one is because even like chicken, most people will cook chicken. Like they eat a lot of chicken.
Yep.
Even on chicken, it'll just wake it up. It'll give you something completely different, right? It's gonna taste like it was on a smoker or on a grill at some point, even just a little bit because of the way they smoke that paprika, right? And it's one that we fly through it. Like I cannot believe how much paprika we go through as like one of the single spices. Like it's up there with like salt, pepper, garlic, smoked paprika. Like it's up there, right? But outside of that, the other thing is just like some really good salt, right? Diamond Crystal is the big one. It has been big for a long time. It's what you see in all the cooking shows, that red box, right?
Yep.
Once you start cooking with that stuff, like it kind of makes you realize why chefs are always doing all the, just through the whole cook process, right? Like it's just easier the way they make it. It's not as like in your face with the saltiness, so you can like play with it the whole time, right? You just keep adding and like, what's it taste like? Oh, we do a little more, right? Like you can be just like the chefs, right? Like kind of playing. That's another one. Once people try that one, or any specialty salt, but that one in particular, it's so simple. It's so core to everything, right? It sounds simple, but people get intimidated by like how much salt.
So our camera guy is the family dinner guy every Sunday and everything. So you're hearing all this, so you're ready to go. So here's the one I hit, and people talk about, oh, I love spice. I love spice. And I'm like, no, you like heat. And now you go to the grocery store, and personally, this is what I think. I heard somebody a long time ago said, I thought that my taste buds had died because just nothing tasted like anything. It just had no flavor. And we have so many things. I had a friend that kind of beat me up on this this last weekend that are processed. Well, when you cook, that's a process. I mean, you're processing that food. So, but we process bad. Like it's like, okay, a cardboard, and it's almost like, okay, if I get so much heat that I start sweating and I feel bad about myself the next day, that then I can take spice. A, my first question is why do you do that? And then B, do you have that one hidden spice that person that walks in and says, I want spice, and you find out that all they want is heat, and you're like, oh, you're going to pay the price for this one.
It's one of the trickiest questions we get with heat. Like, how hot is it? And I'm just like, well, it's subjective. Like, it really is subjective, because I've had people come in and tell me that, like, one of the spice blends was spicy, and I just flip the package over, and I'm like, is it the pepper? Like the pepper's too spicy, right? Or sometimes garlic, right? Well, like that's on the low end, right? And then every now and then I run into somebody who is just like, no, that wasn't spicy enough. No, that wasn't spicy enough, right? So we keep a couple things around for folks like that want to experience that kind of heat. But it's that's not my jam. Like I need to taste something. Like I don't mind some heat that hangs on and kind of puts you in the zone, right? Like it makes you want to go back for more, right? Like it's that right level of heat. But there are some folks that come in and they're like, I just want to hurt myself. Like they literally say that, right? And I'm like, okay, well, step right this way. I guess we got some things for you, right? That literally happened last week. We had a guy, he was like, I'm making my chili, but I need to make it as spicy as I can. And I'm like, okay, well, we got Carolina Reapers. He's like, you got a sauce? And I'm like, well, we got this sauce. It's like 67% chili mash, and it's like 7 Pot Primo. It almost looks like gravy, like coming out of the bottle, right? And he's like, I'll take them both. And I'm like, you're going to have to let me know when you come back.
Who you're trying to kill.
What happened, right? Like, what happened with that? Like, did it work out for you and stuff? But, yeah, that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. And we do try to offer things that, like now, especially now, I try to get sauces in, like hot sauces especially, that don't just add a bunch of capsaicin oil.
Yep.
Right? You can do that, but it's just, there's no flavor, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing with like processed foods and stuff, right? Like I was literally just talking to my niece about this, but I told her, I said, I am one who can take a can of whatever, right? Like if we need a shortcut or something, and I just want to have a can of soup, and I'll heat it up, I'll start eating it, and I'm like, I can't taste any of the salt. And then I look at the can and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much salt in this, right? And it just makes me wonder. I feel like it's that processing, right? Like it just doesn't taste the same. And then I feel bad because I'm like, well, I have to salt it. I can't taste anything like in there. Like,
well, it also makes you wonder, what are they trying to kill flavor-wise when they have that much salt in it to get up to that level? So
it's weird. Like we essentially went through the biggest and quickest food industrialization in the United States, like kind of first, right? Especially you talk that like World War I, World War II, especially, right? Like in that time frame, everything really started to change on how they were preparing food for the grocery stores and longer shelf life and stuff. And I feel like at the beginning, some of that stuff was probably better, but then things got to the point where it was like, okay, we need to make it faster, we need to make it cheaper, we need to make it, a longer shelf life. And I think all of that together kind of put us where we're at now, where, now we're like, ooh, those food dyes aren't the best, and like, ooh, the salt is probably causing a lot of inflammation in people, right? Like, but there is like this turning back now where people are curious about what I used to be curious about when I was a teen, even like, well, what did they do before there was a can of cream of mushroom soup? Like, did they just make it, right? Like, but it's just that disconnect, right? Like, it's just like when people say, well, I'll just go to the grocery store, if there were ever like disruptions, right? Well, I'll just go to the grocery store. Well, people got a little taste of that. What happens when things break down? And it's like, well, if you have your base ingredients, it's going to be a lot easier if you know how to do that.
So I'm going to nerd out here for a second and just say, like, if you're a person that is even curious about food, they have like the history of food on the History Channel that's out there.
Yeah.
And so if you watch how our society and food has changed based on the time period, so as we talk about the pandemic, so one of the biggest things for me, because I won't go into all the details, but if you go to the store today, and we just had our big event, Halloween, a few weeks ago, and most of those candy bars and stuff were developed in the late 20s and early 30s. Yeah. And the reason is because people were poor. They wanted something that was high calorie to try and help sustain them, that was cheap. Yeah. And so they came up with all these different candy bars and things are out there. But I don't think most people think of that. It's like, oh, I'm eating this. Well, this was developed for a certain purpose that's out there. And to me, it's, like I said, because of my start of just trying different things and whatever, I find that interesting. I know that everybody would find that interesting that's out there.
No, there's a lot of interesting changes that you see, right? Like, it's kind of like when they would show you the size of a donut in the past, right? And then you see the ones that they were, but it's like we've kind of gone back right now. I think it's more for financial reasons, right? Like the company, it's like the shrinkflation, right? Yep. But in reality, it's like, well, actually, that's a normal that's a normal sized donut from the past, right? So you see these different changes as we go through things, right? But I think it's one of the reasons that I always encourage, especially younger folks that come into the shop. Like, there are so many college kids that we get in the shop, and I'm like, this is great, guys. Like, even if you're just zesting up like something instant, you're at least planting that seed that you see the importance of knowing how to cook for yourself. Like, because once you get out on your own, and you don't have the parental help or the grants that are helping you get through college, right? It's gonna hit you really quick, right? That you don't know how to make something basic even, and then you're gonna rely on, here's the frozen thing, here's the can. There is no connection to, well, I know how to make at least something simple with eggs, something simple with potatoes, with rice, right? Like, it's so important to learn that stuff, and then you can kind of insulate yourself from having to rely on all of that.
I'm going to take it in a completely different direction for the people that are watching, okay? If you want to be able to impress your date and have more dates, learn how to cook, because there is nothing more that will get people excited to be around you is not only that you say you'll cook, but then number two is when you cook and then you do something that they can't get anywhere else in town. And they're like, oh, I've never had anything that this is good. Yeah. Guaranteed, you'll at least get a second date.
No, it's such an important life skill, and I feel like sometimes people don't realize it. And then you get like the weird stuff, right? Where like sometimes you get that whole thing where like, oh, well, like, it's a gender role thing, so then men don't want to learn how to cook. Because I see the numbers for the shop, right? Like, they are skewed in a certain way. It's like 75% women that come in the shop, 25% men. Those 25% men are probably like catches, right? Because they're in there experimenting, right? And he's
not only the camera guy, but he's also the person that does Sunday dinner.
Guy,
so
right?
Yeah,
like, it's so valuable to learn how to do even just the basics, right? Just the basics. Learn a couple things, and then you can springboard off of those little things if you ever get curious about it. But it's just so important. And that's actually why I think it catches people's attention today, is because it's become rarer for people to know how to do even basics, right? Like the faces of, like, I got together with some friends from high school. This has been a while too. But I'll never forget, they came over to my little tiny apartment, and I think I just made like a salad with like chicken breast, pan fried chicken breast, right? Salt, pepper, olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
That is it, right?
Yep.
And slice it up, put it on. I remember they're eating. They're like, "What'd you do to this chicken?" And I'm like, "Salt, pepper, olive oil." And they're like, "No,
Mm-hmm.
no." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just salt, pepper, olive oil, right? But it's the technique. You got to let it sit so that it caramelizes. You get
Mm-hmm.
the browning. That's where all the flavor is. And but the disbelief,
Mm-hmm.
right, that it was just salt, pepper, olive oil. And I'm like, you can do so much with like so little,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get fancy, right?
Yep.
But you can do so much with so little,
Yep.
right?
So I don't know if you realize this, but at least it's a trend that I'm seeing, at least in the people that I've interviewed, and that is people that work with their spouses and significant others. Okay. Um, First 8 years of my marriage, my wife and I work together. Uh, there are things that I will tell you I'm glad I don't do anymore.
Yeah.
And then, but the nice portion was is I could walk down the hallway, open the door, and be like, "Hey, you want to grab lunch today?" or whatever.
Yeah.
So there are nice aspects. Jamie keeps on coming up. He and Kelly have had multiple businesses work together.
Yeah.
The HR person I was talking about,
Yeah.
he and his wife and actually daughter work together.
Yeah.
So how is it for you and Don? What is it working together day to day? What are the strengths that you bring? What are the strengths that he brings?
So, the whole thing kind of actually was, we walked into it cautiously, right? Because Don worked for State Farm for, I think it was over 25 years. I think he was pushing like 27. But he unfortunately got caught in that shakeup they had with HCL. And he was essentially forced to go into the HCL side. And I could just see it on his face. Like he was just not happy anymore. So we decided, take all your time that they gave you, like your vacation time, personal time. I said, take it and let's work at the shop together for about a month or so and see how we feel after. And if we feel good, I say, why don't you just come and do it full time with me? I think we can swing it. Like, I think we're good, right? So we tried it, and we're walking home that night to the car to get home, and I just asked him, so how you feel? He's like, I could do this. I said, I think I can too, right? And so we kind of tested it, right?
Yep.
Even at our house, like we have like our own zones that we can hang out, or we can hang out together, right? Like we have our areas, right? And it ended up working really well because Don is very much so more grounded than I am.
Okay.
Very meticulous. Like usually I look at him and I'm just like, what's the calendar look like, right? Because he's got the calendar, right? He was the one who reminded me, you got to go to your interview today, right? And I'm kind of on the other side, right? Like very much so constantly thinking of all these ideas that aren't even in the present, right? And I think we just kind of play well off of each other, but we've always been like that. Like I've always been one that and I think it was his first experience dealing with somebody like me in a relationship where I don't like to let things linger. Like if I sense like something's off, like TV's going off, like we need to talk. Like we need to get it out because I'm not going to be able to go to bed. Right, like we need to talk. And I feel like because we handled things that way and just always kind of put it out there, if we're feeling something, it's like free reign, put it out there, like we have to talk about it, right? There's just no time. There's no time to be in a situation where we're going to argue, especially after everything he went through. And I just saw how he was feeling working at that other job. And I was like, man, that looks like I probably looked like working every other job I did before Spice Works, right? Like, and I think one of the big concerns was, how do we navigate this? And it turned out his biggest concern was, well, we need insurance. And I'm like, well, let's talk to our people and see if we can navigate insurance, through the business or something. And, it all worked out. Like it all came together. But I think it's just being open and communicating. Like, and people say that they communicate, right? But I feel like sometimes people don't realize that even your timing in communication is like, it's key, right? Like you have to talk about things, and I'm one, like I can't let it sit. Like if I sense something's off, like I'm going to say something. Like I've had to learn how to temper myself,
Uh-huh.
right? Because I realized there was value in there, but you also have to have your approach, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
can't just like burn the house down and you know and be like, there, I feel better, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
no. Um, but I think we've just kind of always played off of each other that way. You know, he takes care of one side of our situation. He does a lot of our personal stuff, and then the building stuff. Right, like he's watching. Like we got to get the air filters changed. We got to get the furnace taken care of, right? And I'm over here like, we got to make harissa powder, and I got to come up with some sort of seasoning that tastes like a donut, and all this other stuff, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like out there, right? And I think together it just ends up working across the board,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I get why it won't work for everybody to
Mm-hmm.
do that, right? Definitely not trying to tell people how to live their life. It's just for us. It ended up being like one of the best decisions I think we ever made.
Well, I was going to say I have I'll call it horse bit that's in my mouth, and my wife is the one that's detail oriented and like keeps track of everything, and I'm like the person of, hey, here's another dream, here's what I want to do,
Right.
and so in a lot of stuff I've had to pull myself back to her world of, okay, we need to be organized, we need to
Yeah.
have the stuff. I
Yep.
mean, as you saw everything going on here today. If you'd have seen me 20 years ago, it'd have been like, okay, I think we have a microphone, here you talk. But she's kind of gradually brought
Yeah.
me over to what I'll refer to as the dark side. But we made it through. I'd like to thank our sponsor today, Roadrunner Real Estate. They are a full-service real estate company that does both commercial and residential real estate. They give free consults with their decades of experience. So if you're looking for that personal touch when you're trying to take care of your real estate, call Roadrunner Real Estate today. They'd love to help you. So, okay,
Yeah.
I have to find out who has a bigger obsession. Okay? And if I mispronounce the one, bad on me. But does Don have a bigger obsession over terrible horror films? Or do you have a bigger obsession? Or was it Amiibo collections?
Oh, the amiibos?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's a tough one. I think. Man,
You didn't expect me to come up with that one, did you?
No, actually, that's a good one though. That's a close one. I'm gonna say Don probably edges me out a little bit because, like, I have my collection. It's ridiculous. I have every single amiibo that they've ever produced, both here and in Japan. And I just read about new ones where they made them look like little wooden blocks, and they come in sets. And I'm like, how do I get these? Right? It's a thing, right? Like I just grew up a Nintendo kid, and it's just like it's one of those things, right? Fulfilling like childhood stuff, right? But Don, like sometimes we'll just be sitting there and he'll just start scrolling and he'll just pull up some random movie. He's like, oh, I remember watching this, when I was a kid, and I remember going to the theater, and it's like the most random plot like I've ever seen, and then it's like in any language, like he's just found these movies, right? Like Japanese, Italian, but especially Italian horror. Like you name him an Italian horror, and he hasn't seen it, I know we're gonna have to watch it that night. Like he's gonna have to add it to the.
So I'll find out if you know this one or not. Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we watched it. He's made me watch it. Yeah, I've seen all of these things too, for the most part. I'll watch them at least once. Like, but yeah, that was one of his favorite. I think we watched the movie, and then we watched when they did the riff tracks thing too. We watched both of them.
So for those watching, the main actor dies in the middle of the filming of the film, and so the rest of it's just this person running around with a Dracula with a cape in front of his face and everything. So
no, I mean he has so much knowledge about that stuff that sometimes I don't realize. It's like one of those realizations that some movie that you may have enjoyed was a remake of a remake, right? Yeah, he's so into it, and some of them are so bad they're good, right?
Yep.
Like we always kind of joke around about. I guess not necessarily. Well, I mean it's horror, but like not Italian horror, but like The Car. You're seeing The Car.
Yeah.
With the no one knows what evil drives the car, right? Like the first time he showed me that, I was like, what is this? Like I don't understand. Like, but that's been like that from the very beginning.
Well, my wife will walk in sometimes, and I'll have friends, and we'll just be watching something that's completely off the wall. She'll be like, "Oh, I'm going upstairs. I can't take this." So I kind of get it. Just something that's a little bit different from the mainstream that people are at least willing to make fun of themselves as they watch.
He loves it. And it's like sometimes we'll be scrolling through and like I'll try to like quick scan to make sure you didn't see a movie. He's like, wait a minute, go back to that one. I don't know if I've seen that one. And he's just on it. He just always recognizes so much about Italian horror, but just horror movies in general. But it's just one of those things, right? He loves it so much, but I can't speak out of turn because I'm obsessed with Nintendo, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, it's just everything about it. Like, I think I was probably like 3 when I had a controller in my hand, right? The NES controller, trying to figure out like how it works and stuff. And yeah.
So I'm going to ask a question for the people that are already Spiceworks customers coming in. Will there ever be a Spiceworks cafe?
Oh man. So the main thing that has kept me from wanting to branch out, because I do have ideas that I would love to put into place. It's the time. Like right now, my focus, and sometimes people don't understand it, right? Because they're just looking at it in a different way. Like they're looking at it in a way of like growth and more income and like growth and growth and growth. And for me, I'm like, the most solid base I can have so that if I take another chance, we're fine. Like we're still good, right? It's why we don't do things like online sales. Like we don't do any online sales. Like it's not going to happen, right? Like I can't make it fast enough, right? But I've thought about it. Like there's different things that have come into my space about experiences I don't really see here in a particular way. I hesitate about how much I want to say. At one time there was actually like a cafe idea, like cafe, like but like in a different way, where it was more about random set experiences of the beverages that were going to be offered, right?
Yep.
We'd even gone as far as like designing like a whole logo and everything, and we were this close to starting to do that. It just didn't pan out, but we were going to do, I'm trying to remember the exact name. I think we were going to call it Formula 309.
Okay.
And it was going to be like all kinds of, rotating like random drinks from all over the planet, right? Because I'd already been curious about that kind of stuff. Like there's so many things I've tried. Like, I think I still have like 50 bottles of like different syrups at the house that I'm trying to figure out, like, am I just going to throw these away? Because like I can't really like, it just didn't pan out, right? But I've also thought about things that are missing, like in the area, right? Like it's not just about trying my own spin on a concept that's already here in one way, right, or another. But there's certain things that like a place that's like some sort of quick grab and go thing, not like a place that you would sit down, but there's so many people who I feel like want a quick lunch, right? And they just don't have that option in certain parts of town, right? There are so many ideas. Like
what I hear from Ruben is is that we need to buy more spices, get your friends to buy more spices, and every single time you buy a spice, you need to say, we'd like the Spiceworks Cafe or something else that's down there, because he has the ideas. He just needs the capital to be able to do it. So you obviously have a love for downtown. That's where you started. That's where you're at. What is the craziest or wildest thing you've seen outside your doors that's happened?
Oh man. So I mean, I feel like it's not a secret that things have kind of fluctuated over the years, right, in downtown, and I think the gentleman who came in once, there's obviously something going on with him, right? He came in, we started kind of arguing at the front because I was kind of asking him if he could just kind of move it along, right? And he said he would season us and eat us with her own spices. And I just, even in my head, like, I couldn't help but kind of laugh in that moment as well. That was just like, this is crazy, right? Like, this is not something that like I ever thought I'd be dealing with, right? We've had situations like that. It kind of any downtown, it doesn't matter like which one it is, right? Like you have some of that going on, like. That's been a crazy one. That was a crazy one for sure.
But we say crazy, but it's the other place where I think people go to quickly is they think unsafe. I don't believe that downtown is unsafe any more than any other place that you could be in our community if you do stupid. So
I hear people say things like that, and I'm like, listen, I lived in parts of Chicago that were blocks away from places where there wasn't even a sidewalk anymore. Because the city and even the police force were just like, like, I don't want to do it. So to even remotely say that, I question anybody, right? I question any sentiment like that because, and this is from my perspective. I feel like there are other people who would look at it differently. Obviously, they have their own experience, right? But is there room for improvement? Yeah. Is it improving? Absolutely.
Oh, they're spending a lot of money down there, so yes, it's going to improve. Yeah.
Well, even from my first experiences of going downtown, like the memory I remember the most was when the Coffee Hound was getting ready to open, I think, or they had been open. I can't quite remember, but I remember that I went to go interview to be a baker for Mr. Fritzen there.
Okay.
And I remember getting out of the car and being like, there's like all these closed places, like what's going on down here? And I don't actually know if I had been through the downtown area before then. And to see it from that point to where it was when we first got downtown, even over on Center Street, right? To see it to where it is now, even in the like 6+ years that we're going on, right? Like there have been so many big changes and, it's just changing even more, right? But as somebody who my focus is always running the business first, and I had to pivot, right? I was really starting to get involved in a lot of things, and I still am in a certain way, but like I had to kind of pull back because at a certain point it's kind of like a set it and forget it. Like this is my opinion. Here's what I see happening if we do X or Y. I got to go grind some pepper. Like I got to go back and do this, right? But I do see like a really nice mix of upgrades, but holding on to the tradition, right, of like some of the older buildings still being there, right, and just having its own vibe, right. So I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see where we're going to be here because I think most of that stuff, the planned for the Main Street corridor, I want to say they're finished by 2027 or something like that. That's the plan.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little nervous as they move closer to our space, but I think it'll be fine. I mean, it's like I plan for that kind of stuff constantly.
Well, it's so working with businesses on Veterans Parkway. Yeah. They're not a destination. Yeah. They're a place where everybody's at. So Chili's, okay? Yeah. You know what you're getting, they're going there. You guys are a destination. Jamie down there, it's a destination. Like people that walk in, like to his shop because of the games, I'll just say it's kind of like being in the Wizard of Oz. No color to color, and people are like, "Oh, this all happened down here." Well, somebody had a dream. They put their money out there, and they wanted to create an experience for you to come enjoy. The same thing if you're a cook, it's the same place of the doors open, and all of a sudden you have the smell that comes through, not overwhelming of this, oh my God, like you're gonna knock me out, but it's like, okay, curiosity, okay, where are we going? And there are bags, and okay, do I need a little bit of this? Is something big? Like I said, so it's an experience.
Yes.
So as construction, people are willing to go through that to enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've said is like I'm not necessarily worried that we won't get folks to come in. It might affect foot traffic a little bit, right? But like that's why we've taken the approach we have where we do very, very minimal advertising. Like for me, it was very important from the beginning that most of our growth would happen through word of mouth because it's just common interests, common goals of learning how to cook or getting these new flavors and just trying new things, right? Between all the folks that talk amongst each other, right? And we get people from out of state. Like there's a family, I see them maybe 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
They all come piling out of a car, and then they're like, hey, we're back. You know, I think they come from like northern Michigan or something like that, right? Like, that's what I always wanted, right? Was like a destination spot. It's just, it reminds me of the places that like would talk about like, oh, we're in our 70th year of business, right? Like, and you never hear about it until you drive by it or somebody told you, hey, you should go check that place out, right? And that's what I always wanted, right? So I that's a big thing. I always strive to keep that vibe going. My hope now is it's like one of the last things on my checklist, right? Is I need to find somebody who would want to take it over. And it's so crazy to think about it now, right? Because I don't know. I hope I got like a good 50, years in me still, right? But at a certain point, you do want to step away and kind of just enjoy your life as well, right? But sometimes people wait too long to do that. So it's so important for me to think about that now and try to figure it out. And it's just become something more than I ever anticipated. Like hearing people say things like, you make me a better cook. Like I love it. Like my family eats my food again. Like that was never the initial part of the plan.
Yeah.
So it's like become something else. And now it's like the goal is to protect it.
Well, I have people say all the time with my business of Roadrunner, I've not heard of your real estate company or whatever. And what I kind of say to people is this, is I'm not everybody's real estate agent.
Yeah.
But I'm your real estate agent.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I am for that person that's before me, that I want to do the best job I possibly can. But I'm not the person that I want to have 85 phone calls coming to me with stuff. Yes, I like money, but at the same time, there's just a place of I enjoy the clients that I can be their special for. I used an example. I have a current transaction. They're moving to Marshall. And I was traveling to go see some friends this last weekend. And I just, by accident, was traveling through Marshall. So I go over, I take a picture of the signage behind me, and then do a quick text over to them. And they're like, oh, how did you get here? We're like, how did you know? Well, it's those little special things that you can do because you're not doing 15 transactions, or yours would be thousands of transactions and people are just coming through. Yep, next, okay, here, you've got your spices, great, have a nice day type of thing. It's that more intimate feel. Just as, I think if you really understand food, as you've said, it's not just eating, it's a social aspect.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was never put into my space more than when I waited tables. Like, you want to know what somebody's really like? Catch them while they're eating, right? Like, you really get to know somebody while they're eating, right? It's just they feel a little bit more open to express themselves, to talk to you, everything, right? So, and I've said this several times in several places, but like I read this quote and it's always stuck with me, and it's one that I absolutely enjoy. But it's like, to know a community is to know its food, and that has always it just resonates so much. Where I'm just like, it's true, right? Because no matter how dicey situations get, no matter how contentious people are with each other, like, it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, you cannot argue that everybody has to eat. There are traditions behind food. And even from there, you can springboard and figure out where all these dishes and spice blends came from. And there's just this understanding, right, of so much behind food, right? And I think that's part of it, right? Like, that's part of what I enjoy about it, is bringing other cultures to people's attention through food. It resonates so much, right? Like a curry is the big one. You got any curry powder? And immediately I'm like, well, which one? And they're like, I don't, like, they don't understand, right? So immediately I'm like, oh, okay. Let me take you to this one. It's this style. It's from the South India. It's the one you're going to want to use when your recipe just says curry powder, right? It's the closest thing to that base that got made to be called curry powder, right? And you kind of see the realization, right?
Well, I think that's where the United States has kind of done an injustice for the world. Yes, we can mass produce food. Yes, we can keep people alive. But we've brought KFC and those restaurants over to the rest of the world, And when the biggest one I would use is India.
India's a big one.
We think about it as being McDonald's, and that,
Yeah.
okay, if you go to this part of India, there's McDonald's, and there's no. Depending on where you're at, it is wide all over the place of what you're going to eat and the flavors.
India is a big one for so many talking points, but especially with like food industrialization through fast food moving into India, it's become so successful because from what I have gathered and the people I have spoken to, cooking as a career is seen as not as that's not a thing that is accepted, especially by older school Indian families. Like that's like I don't want to call it a failure, but it's not what you could have been, I guess is the way they look at it, right? So you don't see a ton of it in that direction, right? Of like actually becoming a professional chef, right? And in turn, it's also like they're going through this weird thing where some of the traditional dishes and some of the traditional methods for cooking, and even just the skill to cook is kind of starting to disappear a little bit in certain areas because it's just easy. Go down to the the fast quick place and get it and you'll be done, right? And that's sad. Like that's sad, especially in India, like the birthplace of so many types of spices and spice blends, and even the way everything was like colonized and how those cultures mixed, and then they just shotgunned across the world, right? Like curry being like a national dish and not India, right? Like how big it is in the UK, and then even the Japanese army eats curry, like, right? And there's just, you can kind of trace it. Like India is fascinating to me because of that, right? Because you had the French, the Portuguese, the British, right? Like they all came and tried to take a piece of it, and India was like, not today, right? And like push everybody out. But then India also was like, look at this crepe pan, I'm gonna make dosas, right? And then that's where you get dosas, right? So you have this like interesting mixture of things, right? And the Portuguese brought wine over, and they were like, oh, we'll put meat in there to preserve it, and like, ooh, it kind of turned into vinegar, and then you like one way or another it led to vindaloo, right? And it's just like fascinating, absolutely fascinating, right? And it's interesting when I talk about it in the shop sometimes because I'll have like Indian families come in and we'll start talking about it, and they're like, why do you know so much about this? And I said, I know guys, like I can't help myself, like I need to like know like where some of this stuff came from, and like just because I'm so curious, like it just bounces and bounces, and so I'm kind of nerding out.
Yep, exactly. So we're hitting the rapid fire, the downward place with the interview and everything. Okay. So you and Don get put onto a deserted island. You already have salt. You already have pepper. What is one spice, if the two of you had to have it for the rest of your lives, what would that be?
Single spice, it'd probably be garlic. It's garlic. I almost want to say paprika, but it'd probably be garlic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next question is, what do you think is the most overrated spice in Bloomington Normal?
Overrated spice?
Overrated spice, yes. People give it way too much credit for cooking.
Oh, man. This is going to be so controversial, but like the amount of times I get asked for MSG.
Okay.
And I'm just like, guys, you don't have to use that. Like there's MSG in like tomatoes and mushrooms and like all this other stuff. I hesitate to bring it into the shop because I feel like it would do people a disservice to not learn how to use like tomato powder and mushroom powder and dried mushrooms and onions and garlic and even anchovies, right? Like these are all ways to get these savory flavors in there. So like it gets asked for all the time, and I feel like we may be one of the only places that may not ever bring it in because I'm just like, it's a cheater spice in my head, and I'm trying to like not to think about it or like let it come out of my mouth, but like I can't even deny it. I'm like, it's a cheater spice. Like it's a cheater spice. Just throw an anchovy in there. It'll melt, and you're gonna get the same thing. Like not even getting into any of the other controversial stuff about MSG. To me, it's more the cooking aspect where I'm just like, oh, there's so many things in your kitchen already that like you can just like throw it in there and you'll be good.
Okay. Right? So, here's my final question for today. If you had either a movie you know of or a title that you can come up with quickly, how would you encapsulate the Spiceworks Ruben Don experience? What would you call your movie?
Oh man, I feel like Don would be really good at this because he's come up with so many like spice names. Man, that's a tough one. I feel like it'd be like a play on words for sure, like one of our spice blends, right? Like tis the seasoning, or like Don really liked Sergeant Paprika's Lonely Hearts Club blend. Like like
Okay.
it'd be something along those lines.
I was going to go with like 2 men and a spicy lady.
Right. Man, yeah. I don't know. It'd probably be something like that. Like, that's a tough one, man. I don't know. I don't think that's a good question. That's a good question.
That's where I ended with it.
Yeah, you got me on that one, man. I don't know.
Okay.
I like that. Like something about two spicy blokes or something, right? Like
yeah, exactly. There you go. Okay, so this is your camera right over here. Okay, what is it that you want people to know about Spiceworks? You have Christmas that's coming up, Thanksgiving. What are some things that you want the public to know out there? It's all yours.
So, no matter what, at the end of the day, Spiceworks, even though it seems kind of intimidating when you come in, because there's so many options, if you are just in for salt and pepper and garlic, we got you, right? If you want to experiment and try something different, we got you. With the holidays coming up, this is a really exciting time because I think starting this week, pretty much through the end of the year, we have so many things that come into the shop that we can only carry during this time of the year because we don't have the shelf space for some of these things to carry all year round, but also some of these things are only produced during the holidays, right? So everything from traditional shaped marzipans that are hand painted to French cookies, all kinds of great gift ideas that are going to be available here, probably starting next week especially. We start getting our decorations in soon, so the trend has always been heading towards giving experiences versus a lot of knickknacks or electronics and stuff, and we have definitely seen an uptick in people gravitating towards that concept, and there's nothing that makes a bigger connection than having something that was absolutely delicious, right? Like a nice little treat. And we've got you. There's all kinds of stuff, whether it's Italian, French, Turkish, Spanish. There's all kinds of different things that you can come in and pick up.
So I'd like to thank Ruben for coming in today and doing this interview. It's 309 North Main Street?
Yep.
Okay, 309 North Main Street in Bloomington.
Oh, I'm 311.
311. Okay, I was counting down the door, so sorry about that.
I actually think that may have been the other location. So, yeah, 309 Center, I think was the other one, but 311.
So 311 North Main, 311. Make sure you have that out there. Go buy the spices that you need. Make sure you say you saw it on RoadrunnerZX, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.